This is the rig that I've been using on the road lake. Incorporates a monofilament hook link. This is made of fluorocarbon. The reason I like that so much is it's very stiff, so it doesn't tangle, and it also reacts really quickly in the fish's mouth. So when they pick the bait up, the hook turns and catches hold really quickly, and that's been massively successful for me when I've been making some underwater films back in the UK. Now this one incorporates a different style of hook. This is a wide gape hook in a size 4. And the reason I'm using a size 4 is I'm using quite a big hook bait. The bait matches the bait that we're feeding here. It's a brand new bait that hasn't even got a name yet. And what I've basically done is put some cork dust into that bait and rolled it into the same size as what I'm feeding, so it's got a little bit of buoyancy to it. So what's basically going to happen on the lake bed is the bait is going to just hover above the hook. So the hook's going to sit flat on the bottom, bait's going to hover above. But the great thing about this is when it goes in the fish's mouth, the hook turns really quickly, and because it's running on a D there, the bait and the hook can separate a little bit, and it allows the hook to turn better. The bait itself is not on a hair. It's pulled onto a micro rig swivel which is sliding on that D, and what that means is that the hook can turn and catch hold without having to turn the bait at the same time, and it just makes everything react that little bit quicker. So moving down that fluorocarbon hook link, it's probably 8 inches long, something like that. As the session goes on, I will probably reduce that down a little bit because it's rock hard out there where I'm fishing. So I might even be able to reduce that down to 4 or 5 inches, and that means the rig's going to react a lot faster. And what you find on these type of venues, people use the same rigs week after week, the fish get used to it, and then you're going to stop catching them. So most people will fish a 10-inch hook link. It'll be a soft coated braided material. It won't react that quickly in the fish's mouth. The hook perhaps won't be sharp, and the fish will suck it in and blow it out 20 times before you catch one. This one is so aggressive, it's only in their mouth once or twice at the most, and you've got them. So moving down the rig, we've got a small size sinker in the middle of the hook link. I'm going to mould a bit of putty around that, and that's going to hold everything flat down on the bottom. And you can see there I've got an anti-tangle sleeve that helps to push everything away in flight. And then moving down onto the lead system, this is quite a special lead, this one. It's called a cog lead, which stands for centre of gravity. And can you see there, I'm picking the lead up from the centre of the lead, so the fish is feeling the full weight instantly. What basically happens when you get a take is that swivel will pull out of the side of there, and it will just turn it into a normal lead clip system. So if the lead gets caught in anything when you're playing a fish, the lead itself will actually unclip from there, and then the fish is away from the lead. Hopefully that releases the fish and you land it, but if you don't land it, it means the rig is safe and the fish is not towing the lead around. And then on the back of that, I've just got some heavy tungsten tubing that lays nice and flat on the bottom. It's almost the same colour as the lake bed as well, but the most important thing about it is that heavy. So that's the rig that I'm using. Very important on these sort of waters to use a bottom bait because it's nice and clean out there. There's no weed at all, and the fish are used to grubbing around on the bottom. A lot of the stock fish in here have never been fed, so they're natural feeders, and the carp's natural food is on the bottom of the lake. So I've got a variety of different baits here that are all bottom baits effectively with a little bit of buoyancy in. So the hook's going to lay flat on the bottom, but the bait is going to hover just above it. So it's not a pop-up, it's no real different from any of the free offerings, but it's going to go in their mouth that bit easier. So this is that bait that I've put the cork dust in, and then the other two that I started with are my old faithful banoffees. Made them myself. They've got a little bit of cork dust in to help the buoyancy as well, so they retain their buoyancy. And then we can't fish anywhere without having some of these ridiculously bright and ridiculously smelly baits coated in the almond goo. That's been really successful on all the lakes I've fished it, especially on the underwater filmings. So I start with a different hook bait on every rod and then swap over to what's getting the bites. At the moment it's the bait that matches what I'm feeding, but I will try other things during the session, and whatever gets the most bites, that's what I'll swap onto.